now I'm going to look forward. Curtis did a very good job of looking backwards, but I'm looking forward to see how we adapt the MOU to the future of LINX, which is really what this talk is all about. And so the board and the executive team have done quite a bit of work thinking through how we adapt this for the modern era. Now, why would we change any of this? Well, partly because the MOU is very old. It was written 30 years ago. It's been patched a lot. And as we all know as network engineers, when we patch a lot, stuff gets to a point where it's not very logical anymore. It's very complex, heavy cross-referencing inside the document, and sometimes that's hard to read. So there are some gaps in there, and there are some constructs, some logic that doesn't hold together. At the same time, it's often very prescriptive, and heavy on operational detail, which in the membership T's and C's may not be relevant. So it has no legal support for the external product definitions, which is the fabric of what we provide as services and products. And there are also limitations on what we can expect of those products. So it's a bit of a weird mixture. On the one hand, it's a membership agreement, but it also describes some of the services and products that we provide. There is standard contractual legal protection for LINX members, but it's not there in all cases. So the current MOU really isn't fit for purpose as it's constructed right now. And we have certainly heard that from many members as we've had discussions with members about the state of the MOU. So I think our goal in looking at this and how we might solve this has been to really improve the document architecture, first of all, just to make it much clearer, much simpler, and logical in its construct. So that means that we're moving to specific service terms for T's and C's for services separate from the membership agreement itself. So that allows us to have more rare or specific cases for separate documents. And obviously not all members take all our services. So the only things that would be relevant would therefore be the things on the services that you do take. Separate the legally important from the operational process and guidance. Sometimes the two are quite confused and mixed up. And as we said, there's a lot of cross-referencing. So we want clear layout, we want plain English, and we want a new framework agreement that supports both the core relationships and the provision of services. So those are really the goals. Now, the process that we've been through so far really suggests that we've been doing a lot of internal thinking about how we might reconstruct these documents to make more sense. We've reviewed it with the board, with external lawyers, but now it's time for you to have a chance to give your input to this, which is obviously the call for the consultation on where we progress this document in the future. So what we propose is a new agreement architecture, as you might have heard. So first of all, we're going to go to a new membership agreement to replace the MOU. That'll be one document. And that's something that obviously every member signs as part of their joining. So that's the core contractual relationship between LINX and each member. And then there'll be a separate service term for each of the services that you take, which may have different T's and C's depending on what kind of service it is. And there might be special terms that apply in particular circumstances based on which data center you're in, which location you're in, and so on. So all of this will mean a much simpler document architecture, easier to maintain, easier to update, hopefully less changes to the MOU as such, which will be a longer lasting document that will stand the test of time. Now, I hasten to add that all of this provides for the ongoing membership to control the document, especially the membership agreement. And obviously that's critical, which is why we're launching this consultation. The basic structure of an intent of the membership agreement is unchanged, but the way we document that will be clearer. On the T's and C's for the individual products, obviously that depends on which which products you take from LINX, and therefore which of those T's and C's you find applicable. But that's obviously more of a commercial relationship as opposed to the membership agreement. Now, what we're going to do is to launch a consultation process. And so as of pretty much now, we're publishing the new documents as they stand in the consulted form so that you can take a look at them. The deadline to get those bits of feedback in is quite far away, so 28th of February, so that we can then put this to a vote for the overall membership at the LINX124 meeting. So that's the timetable for consultation. Now, obviously, there is, there's going to be perhaps quite a lot of feedback on the documents. We really would have trouble reconciling 900 lawyers, each having their view on the T's and C's in the MOU. But we will commit to looking at each piece of feedback. I think the more important piece is the principle and the structure of the documents and making sure that we are not missing anything or that we understand how to deal with the kinds of situations that we need to deal with. So likewise, it's important for us to understand what's behind people's concerns if they want to express concerns. So it'd be helpful to understand how you think we should resolve a particular issue that's in the document, not just why you're proposing, or the reason behind why you're proposing a particular change in the document. Now, we will run a number of consultation meetings. We'll have, as you can see here, a number of dates that will allow you to give feedback to us, and including some in-person meetings on December the 5th here in London, and the 11th of February also in London. So we hope that members who want to give input or can give input will do so in person, and if not, we have online participation meetings as well. So all of those you can register for on the portal, and I think that page should go live very shortly, so you get a chance to give your input, and of course feel free to give one-on-one input as well. So, it's important that you have a good opportunity to look at these new documents, give your input, discuss it with each other. We have created a workspace for that on the LINX community, which should be going live very soon. And there's a specific membership agreement discussion area on the LINX community where we'd welcome your comments on this topic. So, all the documents should be going live very shortly on this web address, and then we'll very much look forward to having your feedback. So with that, are there any questions? I don't really want to take questions on the content, but I will definitely take process questions or any other feedback. So I've got one here at the front. And I might need help from Curtis and Jen on this topic too.
On the side of the document itself, the reasoning for the weighted of the question, how they are, where they design, how they are, and the challenge you're trying to resolve with the section would be nice to have when you read it.
So it's a complete rewrite. There is nothing similar with the old MOU. There is no side-by-side comparison.
No, it's not a side-by-side. It's when we are going to read the new document and try to understand what each section is trying to achieve from your point of view.
Right.
It would be nice to know it beforehand. Right. Otherwise, at the membership consultation, you are going to have the question by all the members which are reading it.
I think that's actually quite self-explanatory when you see the document. It's actually structured with headlines, so I think it's pretty clear. If there's something unclear, you can ask us what we're trying to resolve, but I don't think, but once you see the document, that won't be an issue. But again, you haven't seen it, so it's a bit hard to talk about it. I suggest have a look at it, and if you have some question, we can discuss that. I believe the site is actually should be live as of now. Yeah, so it is actually live. You can all go to the URL as soon as this presentation ends, so you had to pay attention to Peter until then. But that's but you can actually go look at it now, and then we can discuss today or tomorrow if there's anything. But I think that's quite. I think that should be obvious. Hopefully.
Thank you.
This right? Yeah. Brandon Butterworth, Bogons. It was actually a very similar thing, but worded differently in that to avoid 900 lawyers, armchair or otherwise, feeding back, it felt it would be useful to have something that actually bridges the gap between the old. So give you an idea that nothing has been lost, because you're going to have lots of people looking through saying, what have they missed out in this?
Yeah.
is there something, not suggesting that there's anything underhand about it, but everyone will be looking at the fine wording of things to see what edge case that may affect them has been changed. So it's just something that shows the mapping between the old and the new, and just gives people the confidence, or at least insight, to how things have changed between the old and new, to ensure that they've got the same coverage, or if it is different, just tell us why it's different, so we don't have to all go through it individually asking the same questions.
I mean, as Peter went through the slide, and there will be on the consultation side, the slides as well, there are some principles that we wanted to have in the MOU, right, that we needed to address. Because it's a wholesale rewrite, it's going to be, I can't do a, line by line, this went here, this went there. I think we have tried to capture it, except a few high-level points that we don't believe is resolved. We hope we haven't missed anything. That's for you to judge, right? But we are trying to keep it the same, right? But we have done it more fit for purpose. But I don't think there's anything lost in that sense, hopefully.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we weren't asking for anything big. It's just, you must have done this yourselves to make sure you haven't missed anything. So it's just more exposing the intent and reasoning for things.
Yeah, no, that was the point I was going to make, actually, that's what the internal team has done, is obviously to make sure that we have covered some of these cases. But that's why we need the wisdom of the crowd to help us find any other edge cases that we may not have covered. Yeah, there's a question over there.
Hi there, Tom Hill from BT. When you've been describing this, you've been talking at it as a set of documents, and I can understand the benefit of breaking things out into separate documents for the ease of updating and ease of consumption. The thing that worries me a little bit, and I'm hoping you might be able to commit to this if you haven't already, is to make sure that there is always a readable web version of this with particular hyperlinks that make it possible for us to very quickly find the references from one document to the other. I'm thinking of internet drafts when if you read it in fully plain text, you can't refer to the RFCs easily and that kind of thing.
So I think Malcolm is cringing at the moment, but we want to have one authoritative version, right? I mean, I'll be clear on that, right? And when you say web versions, that's very hard to reference because they become ephemeral, right? So there has to be something that is a static version that is enforced at any given point in time, just like we do today. There's a reason, if you actually go look at MOU, it actually have a number and serial number and date on it when it was adapted, and that's why it's a PDF on the website. If there's some other way we could achieve some linkage between this, maybe, I think we have to think about it. I mean, I see your point, but I also, we have to make this somewhat binding to the version. But there is a set of documents, you're right.
I mean, I think there's a precedent in respect of the way that Wright publishes their documents as well. Obviously, these things are versioned on the website. They're available. Presumably, you can get a PDF of them as well at some point if it's one that you have to sign.
So as I said, we can look into that. I mean, I don't know what the mechanic will be, but there will be some, yeah. But it just had to be a static set of that's valid at every point in time.
Thank you.
Hi, we've just got a question come through Slido saying, given the risk or reward of modernising the MOU, if the pain of not changing it is too large, shouldn't the consultation be less than a year? I think it's less than a year.
That's a first. I don't think me or Peter or the board anticipated anyone saying we should do this faster. I mean, we'll take it, but I think we also might want to have some time for people to consult it. I do think my parting word is that if anyone ever asks me what keeps me awake at night at LINX, the MOU is one of the things, right? So, I mean, if you ask me, I'd like it changed today, but that's not realistically going to happen, right? But yes, we would like to do it faster, but we think this is quite fast already. We'll go to Rob next. He's been waiting patiently.
Question is which Rob? So Rob Evans from JISC. This might be a stupid question, but when changes to the MOU are done, we do that at an EGM, they're voted through, they apply to everyone. If we're changing the membership agreement, does that mean you're going to be chasing 900 members to all sign new membership agreements?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Next.
Following on from it needing to be signed off at an AGM by the members, have you built a contingency plan for the rare expectation that we vote no?
Well, I mean, look, we're waiting for the feedback. So if all of you say we're happy, no, then I think we'll be slightly surprised. I suspect you're going to. I think we're more worried about a contingency of 900 lawyers redlining sending back to us. I think that's more our concern than no one saying anything, to be honest. I mean, we will work with the membership to resolve whatever. I mean, but yes, I mean, we're not expecting anyone from out of the blue vote. No. Graham. Graham's not going to admit fault for all the current versions.
Thank you, Graham Davis. Perhaps, with due respect to our members' lawyers, you could make sure you emphasise this is a consultation and not a negotiation, which should cut down on the changes and the attitude to how they read the document.
It's a very good point. Thank you, Graham.
So it's greater than, not less than a year. So is the pain changing it too large? Shouldn't the consultation be greater than a year? And they'd like a bit more clarity on that, please.
No, we have, this is the timeline we have usually followed, and I think this is what the board has believed is the reasonable timeline. If we close in on May and there is 500 members saying not happy with it, then obviously we need to rethink the timeline. But we don't think that's the case. We think that actually this is in most members' benefit, and most of you will be much happier with this version. But then we will have. Well, I won't because I won't be here. But Peter and Jen might have to reconsider it. But.
Well, let me just add, I've read the document and it is a lot simpler to understand than the current one. So I think when people have had a chance to look at it, some of these concerns may go away. Okay, last call. Okay, thank you very much. Great, thanks.
Yeah, just reiterate what the others have said. Those check-in consultation sessions are live on the portal now, so you can see all the dates. We've got some in person in London, but we've got some online as well. We're not saying those are your only opportunities to talk to us face to face. If you want a call, if you want to pick our brains, you want to ask any questions, then please reach out to us as early as possible, so that if there are any one-on-one sessions or questions you've got, then please let us know and we can accommodate it. So yeah, go and have a look at those dates, have a look at the documents, and yeah, feedback welcome. Thank you very much.